Yeah. The next session here in Graz is a very interesting one. It's AI in education empowering students to become teacher. So that was there was many abstracts concerning students and becoming something like teachers. So we are very eager to hear your talk. You are coming from the University of Technology Munich, yeah?
Genau.
So the guests from Germany, and it's your floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, AI is a thing, I heard from a colleague. And when it first landed, 2022, I was in moods. And I don't know how it was for you. In 2022, who was confused about a tool that could suddenly write stuff that sounded reasonable? Who was excited? Nobody was excited? Okay. Anybody had fear for their job? No? Okay, a bit, okay. We were quite gloomy, actually. Like, we were sitting there at ProLehre, we have a nice didactical team, we had great colleagues, and we were all like, this is knowledge work. This tool can do knowledge work to a certain degree. And it's starting, like, this is getting better. And so we were quite confused what this would mean for all the university system, because this is what we do. We teach people how to do knowledge work. And with this knowledge work, they can earn a good salary, have a fun time in a company, and this is what we're doing. And out of this confusion, we had to somehow find a way to estimate what would happen. And who is we? Well, Leah and I, my name is Lenk-Ostendorf, and this is Dr. Leah Sharp. We tried to get behind what would happen with AI. I don't know, how was your experience, Leah?
AI? Yeah, I think I heard about it, but I'm sorry, I have to finish grading these papers. I just need a few more minutes. Okay?
Sure, yeah. No worries.
Thank you.
So, you know, some professors, like, they were kind of busy, but we still had to somehow evaluate what would happen. And are you done yet?
Yeah, well, I mostly finished the grading, but now I've got to rewrite this abstract and turn it into some conclusion. And you have to rewrite these things over and over again, and I just don't have time to talk about this right now. Sorry.
Okay. So we had a problem. And it's not that anybody was like, oh, AI, this is so bad. People were quite excited, but they didn't have time. And so we had to find a way how to reach out to these people. And we were thinking about 3 ways how we could do this. And when we think about it, the first thing that could come to mind is when we say, I, as the university president, say, could you please try AI, because I haven't, and I think it's something important, but I can't keep up to all the trends, and so it would be really cool if you could just,
Sure. Yeah, Yeah. When the university management tells me to use AI, great, but where's the guidance? I mean, it feels more like they're just chasing some hot trend rather than giving me useful tools.
And they're not really to blame. In the first days of ChatGPT, nobody could know what would really happen. And it was not their job to run after every trend, understand it, then put it into nice words and communicate it. It's quite hard because we, the experts that should know what would happen, didn't know. So it's quite a tough job. The next thing that we thought would happen and would encourage, a big growth is the following scenario. Hello, Mrs. Professor. I wrote this whole essay with ChatGPT, and I think it's great.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Looking at the students' papers that used AI to write them, I could tell they have no idea what they're doing. They're clearly missing some fundamental principles. But what can I do? I mean, I would be happy to teach them how to use AI in the right way, but first I would have to learn how to use it, and then I'd have to find time in my really packed full lecture schedule to find additional time to teach AI. Who's going to do that?
And this is the problem, because nobody did know what would work and what doesn't work, and we still, you know, we've seen it right now, we still don't know how exactly we can use it. It's quite hard. Who could communicate that? And we think there's one group that is very, very specific that could persuade, you know, a professor that is not too keen on technological stuff, and this is... Hey, Leah.
Hey, Ben.
I also wrote a proposal last week, and I tell you something, you know, these abstracts that we have to write over and over again, I just threw my paper in, got the abstract out, changed a few things, 20 minutes.
Wait, what did you use?
I used ChatGPT, it was quite good.
You're kidding?
Yeah.
And how long did that take you?
Like 20 minutes, and then not 5 minutes, you know, correcting, and then I had a mental trauma, and then I had to go 5 minutes, and, you know, but half an hour, that's it. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I mean, that would normally take me really quite some time.
Yeah.
And so this is advice I can use. If my colleagues come to me and tell me that they found a new tool that really worked well for them, that has my interest.
And this is where we wanted to start. We wanted to search out for people that are interested in teaching and interested in new technologies like AI. And we had to find a way to make them worthwhile. Because, quite frankly, we didn't know if any of this would work out, if it really brings a benefit. So, what was our solution? We developed a concept that we call KI-Tutoren Bayern. Is this the most Bavarian thing ever? I don't know, but it sounds like one. So the core idea was professors are very, very low in time, and students aren't. And the thing is, we wanted to have this cooperation, and therefore we started this project.
That's right, because ultimately the underlying problem remained, and that is, how do we get to these professors who are so limited on their time and their energy? And so this program, funded by the Bavarian Ministry for Science and Arts, came up with, well, with our help, came up with this concept where we would reach the students. The students have the creativity, the time, the energy, and the interest to dive deep into AI. And so what we had is nearly every university and art university in Bavaria was assigned a coordinator who would have up to 5 tutors. And these tutors would come to us for a training. We'd train them all together. And then they would be paired up with professors who have some idea, some concept, some thrilling direction that they'd like to use AI for, but they just don't have the time to do it. And so we took these students, sorry, getting confused here. We took these students into our training program, which consisted of an online self-paced Moodle course with 4 modules that they did in a compacted period of time, about 1 month. And then at the end of that month, we brought them together in 2 different workshops where we basically locked them in a hotel for a weekend, and we gave them challenges, and we created teams and contests in order to see who could do what with AI. And it was a really exciting endeavor. We created connections across universities and across disciplines, and the students really felt like this was the highlight of the training program. And
we had little time. There was this new thing, we quickly had to come up with stuff, and it went pretty well. Like, everything went perfect, we were excellent, the students were excellent, everything worked into tandem, universities could agree on everything. Yeah, that's not reality, but we wished for it. Nevertheless, we had a few lessons learned, and now we're coming to what we want to tell you. We encourage you to steal our concept. Everything. We open source everything, but we don't want you to do the mistakes that we did. And therefore, a few mistakes. So we're starting at the coordinators. We searched for people that are didactically involved in the university and had some free time and interest in AI. And this is quite rare. And if one of this is missing, it's quite difficult. If they're not didactically interested, you know, getting close to teaching and really trying to get the message across what you really should do and shouldn't do, like grading papers just with ChatGPT was a topic for a while. We've seen it. Was a bad idea. If they didn't have time, the program suffered. You couldn't get the students to talk to each other, the professors talking to each other. Bad. And the more involved you were with AI and interested in just finding out what works and what doesn't, the better. So having these coordinators with this skill set and interest, quite hard. Directly under there were professors that were absolutely not happy with our program, especially in law. I thought law is quite easy. It's like language, and it has a certain logic, and AI is producing language with a certain logic. Turns out I was miserably wrong, and we had to learn the hard way. And this was kind of by design. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. We had all the disciplines, we tried to spread it across like very, very far, and law was one of them, and it failed. It just failed. And our learning was, okay, law is a hard thing to do for AI and for more students. Then we go on, like this frustration was, okay, some students also weren't cut out for the kind of work we had for them. Because the students had to be very, very okay with being unsecure, with having no experience in the field, having to go in there, having to understand something, not too much guidance, like really experimenting. You have to be brave to do that. And this is not cut out for everyone. So when you select a student, you have to take care that they are brave enough to experiment in a field where we don't know what will happen. Yeah, and that's about it. These are some of these learnings. And one thing we were really surprised about, people want to meet locally. Oh, wow. We didn't assume that, but the students didn't want only to meet in the university. They wanted to meet across university with many disciplines. So they really liked what we do, nice conference. So we should have, you know, some point where we can touch a bit more often than we did.
Indeed. Fortunately, although our law students found that AI does not work well with German law, pretty quickly, they were, a creative bunch of students with now time on their hands, and together with a designer, they took their failure and turned it into a success. So they designed a contract, basically, that an instructor can use with their students that outlines the appropriate use of AI in that particular class. They went through and meticulously thought out every possible use case scenario that an instructor might have, from writing to coding, designing, and so on, studying and proofreading and feedback, etc. And they made a simple table where a professor could say, okay, this is allowed, this is not allowed, or with some caveats. And this really useful document can be used then to get the conversation started between instructors and students, because we find that should be really paramount that we have this conversation with our students. What is the appropriate use of AI? Is it going to impede your learning, or is it going to support your learning? Depends on how you use it. Another success story came from our own at ProLehrer KI-Tutoren, and with our didactical experts. Yeah, that one. With our didactical experts. They basically created a chatbot that's trained in pedagogy and didactics to help create learning goals. This is a very flexible bot that you can talk to in English and in German. And you can do all sorts of things with it. You can input your lecture slides or your notes, and it will help extract learning outcomes. You can describe, well, that was for a master's class, but now I have to change it for a bachelor's student. How should I adapt my learning goals? And this will help you do that. We've had such a good experience with it that we now use it in our very own teacher training program at ProLehrer as part of not only teaching about learning outcomes and constructive alignment, but also showing how AI can be useful in learning.
And one thing that makes us extremely proud is that our students did the most German thing ever. They started a Verein. And the whole thing about this Verein is that they said, oh, we love our jobs, we don't want it to end. Like, we were very comfortable with teaching people how to use AI, and we want to do that even more. And this is why they started a Verein, Vernetzung, Aufklärung, Integration von KI. They just wanted to have the Verein, let's be honest. And they really wanted to stay on this track. And this for us proved that we satisfied the needs of the students and the ones of the professors, because they really started a Verein just to further what they did. And now I'd say we speed it up a bit and give you a few examples what happened in the particular tandems. So one group decided, hey, we want to see if we can correlate with small ChatGPT-generated tests, if they can, relate to the end result grade. And yeah, they can. So this was an indicator for us that maybe we can have a few more tests, and then people can see, okay, I'm on a good way or I'm on a bad way. So this worked out quite interestingly. Next thing. The law students were quite frustrated, I told you about that. And then they said, okay, but we can use the law to see if AI is allowed to be used in any way. And then they went through that and wrote something. And usually it's a bad idea if you give ChatGPT something that your students wrote. We have quite a few details on that. Next thing. In coding, it has quite the impact. It was getting better by the minute. And here we have some pseudocode that you could write down and then have the code. This in itself is nothing that you would be proud about right now, but we were among the first ones that knew in coding this will be a big thing, because in the worst version, it already could do stuff that was quite nice. Next thing. We also had a few tests where we had multiple students working together with their professors, taking one exam question and let it be, reviewed if that could be answered. We just wanted to have a look where it could be better than somewhere else. So genetics with the best models a few days back. Genetics, okay, quite good. Next one, geology, yeah, okay, fine. And our end boss, law. I have a love-hate relationship with law right now because, it doesn't work. We found out on many ways. And one thing I want to tell you is giving people freedom, also the coordinators, the students, the professors, was a good thing. One of the coordinators did something that we very much liked, and I want you to steal this idea. This is Dorothea Will, and she is with the University of Passau, and she had a good idea. Small university, and so many people came and said, oh, I wasn't chosen for the KI-Tutor and Bayern program, but I would love to talk to them, and I have this idea. And she was like, why not rent a tutor? So you could just write an email and say, I would need a tutor for 2 or 3 hours. I have an idea. And then you could just come in, have this tutor that is qualified, experiment for 2 or 3 hours, and then be done with that. And this is a very good idea that we didn't have, but she. So please steal this idea. I'm very fond of it.
And that program continues on to this day, and we're happy to say that several universities have continued their tutor training program, the KI-Tutor. In fact, we at TUM have also continued it. Just keeping it local at TUM, it now has its new name, the AI Guide Academy. This academy, we've taken our experiences from the KI-Tutor, translated it, and created a new and improved training program. And this is the one that we'd really like you to take from us and use with the improvements implemented. For starters, we now have a 3-module online self-paced thank you training course, where we start with about a week of AI basics. So the students get in, they learn what AI is, where did it come from, and how to use it appropriately. Also, how to evaluate tools and output and compare results, and to really understand what's coming out at them when they put in input. Then we spend about a week on teaching basics, because you can't use AI in teaching if you don't know what good teaching looks like. So we basically step them through the process of designing a workshop, from creating learning goals to designing activities to figuring out how to determine whether your participants actually learned what you did, so that they can see the whole sort of constructive alignment of designing a course. Because what is a workshop other than a lecture condensed down into a few hours with a little more interaction and a little less lecture? After that, we have them put it all together into AI in education. And then they really get their hands dirty using AI to create workflows for things like generating learning goals. And once they've designed these processes, they compare them with one another and give each other feedback. Then we bring them all together in our all-day workshop and have them actually implement them. We give them a challenge, where they are tasked with designing a 10-minute workshop on a surprise topic, and they have most of the morning to design it, and then in the afternoon we get to experience the results. And we've seen some great slides come out of it, wonderful activities based on 1, 2 oder 3. Some of you might know it. And it was a really great time. And again, we got people together in person, forming teams, having a little fun competition, and we've added more improvements. So instead of just a WhatsApp group and a Discord server where students can interact online, we're also going to plan, and our first one is next week, monthly gatherings in person where the students can discuss challenges they're having, successes they've had, and really anything under the AI and education sun.
Yeah, and with this, we hope to have solved parts of the challenge that we faced. We think that our idea can help if you are very time constrained. Professors would have to explore if something is working out. And if you are willing to experiment on a larger scale. It takes some courage. But we found that it was a quite wonderful experience. We quite enjoyed it. It was very creative. And we got some great results. And what we hope is that maybe at your universities, this could happen. So, Miss Professor, I tried to write an abstract with ChatGPT, and I used all the things that they taught me, so hope it's good.
Huh. This is actually great. I mean, this sums up exactly everything that we did. I'll make a few changes on it, but how long did that take you?
Oh, like 5 minutes.
Huh. Yeah, I should maybe take that training.
And from that, hey Leah, I heard you have one of these AI guides.
Yeah.
Are they any good?
They're fantastic. I really hope that you take one too. Next semester, they're offering the training again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really highly recommend it. I'm going to keep mine on and continue working with her to do really wonderful things. Can you see the abstract and the conclusion and the cover letter for my article submission, all written by ChatGPT?
How long did it take you?
Oh, I mean, a fraction of the time, probably a tenth of the time that it normally would have taken me to write all of those pieces.
I have to go home. And with this, we have a bit of time for your questions, but one thing we want to emphasize. Please steal everything that we have.
And make it better, because we know that we are not the experts, or at least we always have more to learn. Everything changes so quickly. So take what we have. All of our details are on these links. If you have any questions, of course, contact us at any time.
And rate us with 5 stars.
And hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, well, that's good. We should start a YouTube channel.
We should do that.
Thank you.